almost everybody can attest to the fact that university is far much harder than secondary school. Now, although this fact is very much obvious, I think very few people really take the time to actually think about why university is harder than secondary school, and most importantly, what is the solution. So that is what I'm going to be talking about in this video, and if you think that is something which is very much helpful, then stick around. Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those who are new, hi, my name is Simon, a medical student at the University of Zambia. Welcome to my channel again. Now, if you haven't already, remember to subscribe to this channel, share and like this video. So with all that said, without wasting any more time, let's get back into the topic for today. Now, there are a lot of reasons why university is harder than secondary school. However, according to the niche of my channel, I'm going to single out a specific aspect which is very important actually in terms of the actual academics, as in terms of the content that you learn in university. How is it harder to learn than the ones you learn in secondary school? Now, of course, there are a lot of other things as well to this, but I've managed to single out two major problems which I think are very much critical to understand, and those are the ones to which, if we find the solutions in university, I believe will be found a little bit easier, although there are other things which we have to think about, but these are the major ones. So I'm going to talk about these two, and at the end of this video I'm going to propose a solution which I think is the very much sensible solution to the problems that I'm going to put out. So just follow me as I break down the problems, and I'm sure you're going to agree with me that the solutions I'm going to give to you make a lot of sense and are very practical, and those are the things which we can indulge into to make sure that we make university a little bit easier for us. Now, number one, which is very much obvious, but I'm going to explain it in a way that I think most people have not really thought about, is volume. When you come to university, the volume skyrockets drastically. Like, the amount of information that you have to learn becomes bulky. Now, to demonstrate this, I'm going to use my first year and my second year as a way just to explain to you exactly what I mean, and in how volume is a very big problem, and to see exactly where the solution can be generated. Now, of course, it is the same principle as in when you come from secondary school and going to university. The only reason I've chosen first and second year for me is because these experiences are a little bit fresh, so I'm able to relate better, and I'm able to present something which is very much practical and which is going to make a lot of sense. So for my first year, I'm going to just pick three courses. I had 5 courses, so I'm just going to pick 3 courses, which is chemistry, physics and biology. Okay, and then for my second year, I'm going to pick just 1 course, which is anatomy. Now guys, anatomy can be divided into 3 other components, which is histology, gross anatomy and embryology. Now, you don't, if you're a non-medical student, you don't need to know what anatomy, embryology is. This is just for illustration purposes, and you're going to understand exactly what I mean. I realize that these courses are not exactly the same, as in physics is not the same as anatomy, but the comparison here is going to be in terms of volume. I can assure you guys, and everybody who has done these courses before is going to attest to you, that just anatomy in terms of volume is almost equal to physics, chemistry and biology in terms of volume. Now, of course, you study them a little bit differently because they are different courses, but this is just one course, guys. This is just anatomy, and if I have to think about it very well, I could even say the content in just human and applied anatomy, as you are starting medicine, like that is the introductory anatomy, I would say. It is probably even more than these other 3 courses. So basically, one course there has taken out 3 courses from my first year, and now I have other courses like physiology, which is a giant course. Again, it has got a lot of content and even harder concepts to understand, and I had other courses like immunology, organic chemistry and other minor courses. Now, as you can see from this, on an average, I think the workload from my first year to second year is basically tripled, if not quadrupled. I'm trying to look at the minimalist, but other people, and this is not even exaggerated, guys, the workload is literally tripled. Now look at this, guys. Let's say, for example, like for me, I was studying on an average of maybe 5 hours per day. That is just an example. On average, for me, I was studying 5 hours per day. Now, if the workload is tripled, meaning I have to multiply that 5 by 3, and that is going to give me 15 hours of study. Now, 15 hours of studying, guys, is not realistic. It's not sustainable. You are not going to manage to do that throughout the year. So working harder, just working harder, guys, is not enough. There must be another solution we must find to combat this problem of volume, in the sense that we have to consume and understand information rapidly. And when I say rapidly, I mean rapidly. Because what used to happen is, because of the overwhelming information, you lag behind, and when you lag behind, you start panicking. Worst case scenario, you fail, which is exactly what we don't want to happen. So I'm going to give a very good proposed solution to this problem, but it's going to be at the end of this video. I'm going to talk about another major problem now. So if you want to find out exactly how I think we're supposed to combat this, then just stick around and wait to this just stick around and watch this video entirely, so that you can benefit from everything that I've put up for you guys. Now, problem number 2 is university requires higher order learning. Now, I think to most people, higher order learning could be some kind of a new terminology, but don't worry, I'm going to explain it very, very well, and you're going to understand exactly what I mean by higher order learning. Now, to explain what I mean by higher order learning, I'm going to use the Bloom's taxonomy. Now, do not let the Bloom's taxonomy, the term Bloom's taxonomy, more like intimidate you. It's very easy to understand, although it's a very complicated thing. It has got researchers who have gone through this and stuff. So what I mean is, when you're in secondary school, you don't need very much as in higher order learning to pass. Like, for example, if you look at this model right here, if here you have comprehension and understanding and application, just these three, probably comprehension and understanding and a little bit of application, are very much able to make you to get top marks in secondary school, because most of the things are quite straightforward. The way you learn them is mostly how they are questioned. But in university, guys, you have to go to these higher levels of learning. And if you look at the topmost level, this is where people like Albert Einstein and other people who are, those scientists like Isaac Newton used to operate, because they were able to learn these things and able to create something new, as you can see from this order of learning. So in order for you to really find it easy in university, you have to be able to operate under these higher orders of learning, which is the evaluation and the analyzing order of learning. Now, what I mean by higher order of learning, these are higher because they are not easy to achieve, guys. They are not easy to achieve, and for you to start operating in these higher order it's going to be a very, very uncomfortable experience, and it is something that you have to develop. It's a skill, guys. It's a skill, because the way questions are asked in secondary school and university are very much different, and people are going to attest to that. I can give an example of me for this my second year. A lot of questions were scenario questions. There were questions whereby you could not even know what topic this question is about, but it is an integration of a lot of concepts which you have to compare, which you have to discriminate against each other, which you have to analyze and evaluate for you to come up with a correct answer. Now, as I said, guys, I'm going to repeat this again. Acquiring, or rather being able to operate in these higher order learning stages is not an easy thing, and it is something that you have to learn. It's a skill, and so I'm going to give a solution on how we can start up to more like to cultivate this skill to be able to operate in this phase. So that is another reason why university is harder than secondary school. Now, of course, guys, I realize that probably if you are just hearing of the Bloom's taxonomy for the first time, you might not really understand exactly what it actually presents, and some of the terms which I've been using already, and some of the things which I'll talk about as I start to more like to break down the solutions might be something new to you, but just stick around, guys. This is going to make a lot of sense the more you involve yourself into this learning how to learn thing. So just stay with me. Okay, guys, so to present the solutions, lucky enough, the solution is probably one. It's probably one solution, but I'm going to explain it in a way that tackles both problems. So in order to explain exactly what the solution is about here, the simplest way to put this solution for you is working hard is not enough. You have to learn how to learn better. Now that seems like, it seems very obvious, but it's more complicated than that. Learning how to learn is a complicated subject. So to explain exactly where you have to tackle these two problems, I'm going to just show you a little bit of how learning actually happens. Now I learned this a couple of months back, and it was also taught in my psychology class. So for you to learn, there are basically 3 stages. Of course, there are other stages in between, which I will not necessarily show. I'll just show the most important ones. So the first stage here is encoding, and then you have storage, and then you have retrieval. So encoding, basically what it is you're simply organizing information as you are learning it first time. So this happens as you are studying. You have your book, you are reading, okay, this and this does this, this and this. So the way you are arranging the information is what we call encoding. Now storage, basically that's just psychology, guys. What you read is going to stick in memory. Now of course there's an issue of forgetting. You're going to forget some things, but I'll get back to that. And then there's retrieval. So if you store the information effectively, you are able to retrieve it. So basically, if you have learned something, you must be able to retrieve and use it when it's actually needed. Now guys, remember what I said. If you're seeing these things for the first time, don't worry, I'm going to be explaining them in the simplest way possible so that you understand, and I'm going to point you to some of the resources that you can engage in to make sure that you have a very good and strong understanding of these concepts. Okay, so guys, to explain exactly where the solution is going to emanate from these 3 stages of learning, the most important thing is retrieval. Now when I say the most important thing, I do not mean that these other ones are not important. What I mean is, what you want to achieve is to be able to retrieve the information when you need it. So now the point where I want you to focus the most is on this first stage, which is encoding. Okay, so guys, what you have to realize about encoding is encoding has got something. There's poor encoding and there's proper encoding. Now encoding information correctly does not happen by accident, and it is actually a skill. There are specific techniques you can use to ensure that you are encoding your information really, really well. So you want to learn that, and it is a very vast thing. It is not going to take a day, and it is something that I am actively engaged in. I'm learning, guys. Now the good part about encoding information correctly is that when you are encoding, you are basically operating in the higher order learning stages. You remember the Bloom's taxonomy, guys? So proper encoding actually produces higher order learning. So the best way to make sure that you are learning the information in the higher order, so that you are able to evaluate, you are able to analyze and apply it well to the levels that university requires, is to learn proper encoding, guys. And the other good part is proper encoding allows you to be able to store the information without revising it frequently. Now if you guys have for those who have watched some of my videos already, you know what the forgetting curve is. Guys, when you learn something, you forget information rapidly, especially if you have not encoded information really well. Information is only going to be kept if it is encoded in a meaningful way and it has got meaningful relationships. Now I don't know if this is going to make like 100% sense, but guys, just stay with me. Proper encoding is going to help you store information without revising it frequently. Now, do you know what that is solving again? It is solving the issue of volume, because if you're able to learn something really well once and need very little time to revise it again and on intervals, meaning you have to use active recall and spaced repetition, more like on spaced intervals, more spaced intervals. So basically you're also killing 2 birds with 1 stone. And the other good part about this is proper encoding. Not only is it uncomfortable, but when you know how to encode information properly, guys, you rip through information rapidly. I have not even reached my maximum potential. I know I'm learning how to encode information correctly, and I'm already seeing the changes. I'm able to understand difficult concepts very much easier, and it also enables you to remember other important details attached to the concept. Now guys, I'm providing this simple solution, and I know probably it's not going to make a lot of sense firsthand here, but most of the videos that I'm going to be talking about in the near future are going to be breaking down some of the specific things I'm talking about here. Now, for the channels which I recommend heavily, guys, there are some people who have gone the extra mile, who have done actual studies and gotten papers about learning how to learn, which are going to explain things in the best way and are going to help you understand and the specific techniques which you can use practical techniques to encode information properly. And one of those channels, I've mentioned that channel before. That channel is Dr. Justin Sang. I think it's just Justin Sang. He's a former medical doctor but now a full-time learning coach. You can check out his YouTube channel. You can watch his videos. I watch his videos mainly, like in terms of learning how to learn is like the main person I watch, and I also put most of the things he talks about into practice and couple them with my experience and see what I can come up with, and also watch some of my other videos that I've talked about to see exactly some of the things which I was talking about, like active recall and spaced repetition, how you can incorporate them into your day-to-day study. So that's it, guys. See you next time.